Buffalo Bills training camp day one update. All coming up on today's edition of the Bills Mafia Report. Bills Mafia, you have no idea how good it feels that football is back. I would say out of any day of the football year, training camp, the start of training camp rather, is going to be the number one over obviously opening day during week one. But you have no idea. I'm so glad that I can finally throw out all those bullshit titles I threw out my ass just to attempt to keep you entertained. But I appreciate all of you for riding with me during the off season. And today we actually have a pretty informative video. As many of you know, Buffalo Bills training camp kicked off today in Orchard Park in the Bills facility, and a lot of fans had an opportunity of being there. If you were one of those fans, f you. I am sincerely jealous. But regardless, that doesn't mean that I don't have a responsibility of giving you an idea of everything that went down, not only from the press conferences before and afterwards, but also some things that went down during camp. And we're gonna dive into all of that right before I remind all of you to smash the out of that like button. Without further ado, let's go on ahead and dive in. So starting off the day, right before the first snap was taken, group practices began. Beane ended up taking the stage and frankly covered a lot. Starting off, a bombshell was saying that both Dion Dawkins and Ike Bodiger were sitting on the COVID-19 reserve list. When Beane was pressed on which one of them had the vaccine and which one of them did not, he wouldn't go into details, but he did let everybody know that one does and one does not. So those two are sitting in protocol. They're going through it. I'm really not sure how long the protocol is this year if they are vaccinated, but I certainly will keep everybody up to date once I hear more from that perspective. When Beane was pressed on more vaccination questions, he went on ahead and said that at least 80% of the players at least have their first COVID shot at this point. And he also mentioned that he refuses to make anybody on his team get a vaccination. He's going to leave it up to their own personal choice. And so besides Dion Dawkins and Ike Bodiger, there was another player who was unable to practice, and that was none other than veteran defensive end Jerry Hughes. He unfortunately did not pass his physical with a calf injury moving forward. Beane doesn't seem to be that worried about this entire situation. He should be coming back relatively soon. As always, I will go on ahead and give you updates on that as well. But those three were not participating in practice today during day one. And last update from Beane, he essentially went into the Josh Allen contract extension. This has been dominating a lot of Buffalo Bills creators' headlines these days. And frankly, there's still not an answer. And Beane had this to say: "There's no momentum or anything like that. We've had great conversations since he got back here. If something were to get done, we'd be excited, but if not, we both know we'll work hard next year to get it done." So obviously, Beane is giving yet another very Beane-esque type answer. In my opinion, I think that it needs to go on ahead and get done right damn now. It really does. I feel like if Josh Allen has even a comparable season to he did in 2020, in 2021, we're probably going to have to gift this man probably the second highest paid quarterback in the entire league. And you probably also need to understand that Stephon Diggs might say the exact same thing, especially with Davante Adams today quoting that he feels like he deserves to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league. Stephon Diggs, if he has a year like he did last year, might follow suit as well. So in my opinion, there's no better time than right damn now. And so right after the Beane interview, Mcdermott ended up taking the stage, and he essentially set the theme by sending out a message to everybody that the Buffalo Bills have not accomplished anything yet. And it wasn't only Mcdermott, it was Josh Allen. It was practically every single player that took the stand and was starting to answer questions from these reporters. They say that while they feel like they're a good team, those 13 wins that they got in 2020 do not carry over into the 2021 season. And like every other team in the NFL, we are currently sitting at 0-2. and 0. And in my opinion, that's the exact same type of mentality that I want to see from my team. They need to go out there and they need to start grinding the out, because we have a hell of a season ahead of us and we need to produce again. That theme I absolutely ended up loving. And so then, of course, I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I've already made a video, but finally Cole Beasley addressed the media and about the entire vaccination controversy. And so we all know about the Twitter rants that he's been on throughout the past couple of months. He started off his interview by essentially just sitting down and addressing it at first, and then keeping all of the other questions football related. But really, just to go on ahead and give you a brief breakdown of what he had to say, he essentially said he's not pro-vaccination, he's not anti-vaccination, he is pro-choice. He went on ahead and he said that there was a lot of discrepancies what NFL doctors are telling players. He feels like a lot of them are being coerced with not all of the information that needs to be done. He's saying that when he asked doctors specific questions about the vaccination, it starts off with saying, well, from what we know now, and that phrase lets him know that there's not enough information out there for him to be able to make a personal decision. He doubled down on everything that he said on Twitter. He also ended up putting something out on Instagram. Feel free to check that out, saying how much he respects everybody, but how he's not going to change himself. And let's go win a damn Super Bowl, which I love the ending of, which is absolutely insane. But from now on, we'll see if Cole Beasley actually ends up getting vaccinated or if he decides to continue to be unvaccinated from here on out. And so last couple of storylines during the actual practice, we had Stephon Diggs leading the huddle for the first time, really going on ahead and portraying the leadership and the overall chemistry that he has developed with his teammates in 2020 moving on. We saw Isaiah Hodgins, which is an amazing feat, especially since he has been sitting on the IR since 2020, since training camp of last year. He was out there getting work. He's a receiver that a lot of people were pinging to make the 53-man roster as that last wide receiver spot. So watching him play is going to be very interesting as training camp progresses. And then last but not least, Emmanuel Sanders ended up coming out and reiterating the fact he came to Buffalo was so that he could win a Super Bowl. Well done, Mafia. That's going to have to do it for the first update of training camp. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. And so do me a favor, leave a comment. What do you think about the entire situation? Always love hearing your thoughts on that. Thank you for tuning in. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.